Passion fruit syrup is a delicious addition to any cocktail, especially tiki cocktails. Let's take a page out of the history book. Let's flash back to 1961. The Port Light. Stay tuned.
Brought to you by AwesomeDrinks.com. Check out learn.awesomedrinks.com to learn more about cocktails.
Welcome to Common Man Cocktails. I'm Derrick Schommer. This series is built to kickstart your way into the cocktail home bartending industry. And that's an industry that has much more people in it than actual bartenders. People at home like to make cocktails. They like to do it affordably. We're here to show you how. And of course, if you want to become a real bartender, that's perfectly fine too. All I ask is that you maybe leave me some tips for that education you're getting when you go out and get your real job. I have a Patreon account, patreon.com/CMC. You can always start right there. And the least amount of effort you could do right now for all this free content, mash the like button. And probably, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. This is course 3. It's weird how I make my threes. This is course 3 on learn.awesomedrinks.com. All about passion fruit. There'll be 7 total videos, so by the end of this, when you go to awesomedrinks.com and you purchase yourself some passion fruit, some tropical passion fruit syrup from Liber & Co., you're going to have at least 7 drinks that you can work from. All of that vary from different spirits, from bourbons to rums to tequila. It's just going to be awesome. For this one, I suggest a blender. If you don't have a blender, just shake it really extra hard. But if you do have a blender, bring it in for this recipe. The recipe is going to include 1 ounce of lemon juice, a ½ ounce of passion fruit syrup, a ½ ounce of grenadine, and 1 ounce of bourbon. I suppose I should find some bourbon. Alright, out of all the stuff I have in my bar, I only have this much bourbon because I dropped the bottle in one of our prior episodes. And 120 proof Knob Creek. I think that might be a little high strength for this cocktail. No, it's the perfect strength for this cocktail. However, for the average Joe, they might not be using 120 proof bourbon. So I'm going to stick with some Jim Beam Black. You're going to use about 8 ounces of ice, a cup of ice. You're going to crush it first before you put it in the blender. That's going to help speed the process along, so it only requires really a 5-second blend. You're going to use a double old fashioned, white old fashioned, available at awesomedrinks.com, or whatever vessel you have available. And it's going to have a cherry on a stick for your garnish. If you have cherries that have a stem on them, like the Jack Rudy bourbon cherries, which was suggest for this recipe, but unfortunately I don't have any in stock, so there's that. What you could try to do is tie the cherry stem to the end of a bamboo stick and stick it in your drink so it hangs over the edge, like a light. But just imagine that in your head. Alright, let's build this drink. If you're into history on cocktails and tiki, stay tuned for after the build. So let's start out with our ½ ounce of passion fruit since it's the start of the show. This stuff is fantastic. It's got just the right amount of tart passion fruit bite. If you've ever had just passion fruit, it's kind of a weird fruit, to be honest. It's really a vine. They can be sweet with that nice passion fruit flavor, but there could also be a sour tartness to it, a huge acidity bomb, just like it just puckers your mouth. This stuff, it's not nearly that because it's been balanced with sugar, but you can taste that residual, ooh, this could get you right here. But thanks to the Liber & Co. blend, it's a great balance that's going to add to your cocktail and not make it way too sour. Instead of opening my bottle of Liber & Co. Grenadine, I'm just going to use the one I already have open because I accidentally already opened 2 in here in my fridge, so let's just stick with what I got. ½ ounce of grenadine. So you've got a sugar syrup. You're also bringing in a little bit more sugar with the grenadine, but you're going to get some passion fruit and pomegranate flavor, making it ultra tropical. Of course, if you're using cheesy grenadine like Roses, it's just high fructose corn syrup and maybe something that's supposed to taste like cherry or something. It should really have a pomegranate flavor to it, which is tart, dry, and then the sweet from the sugars. 1 ounce of lemon juice, and that acidity is going to help balance off all the sugars we've added. 1 ounce of bourbon. You could probably go with the 120 or higher cask strength if you have it. Blended cocktails are going to lose a lot of their potency because you're adding a lot of dilution through the ice. So this cocktail could be diluted down a little bit, give you that sweetness and that extra kick of bourbon. It's just going to sit so well. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to take some ice, put it in a Lewis bag, again, available at awesomedrinks.com, hammer it down in some crushed ice. I'm not going to hammer it too hard, just break up those big chunks of ice from our Tavolo so that we have something to work with for this cocktail. Then I'm going to probably crush up a little bit more because you want to add a little bit to the top of this when it's all done. Now, if you've watched our course on dilution and why water makes a big impact on cocktails, right here, what you'll know And what you might expect me to say right now is that by adding that ice into this glass, the bourbon just exploded. I could smell oak flavor notes everywhere. That's because water and dilution accents the flavors and the aromas of your cocktail. Something to consider. Now let's give it a 5-second blend. You're gonna pour that into your old fashioned. Oh, look at that. Sexy. Now let's add just a little bit more crushed ice to the top. Oh yeah. Get it in there. You want a nice round mound, so it kind of looks more like a julep or a mint julep. Now I'm just gonna sit that sherry right on top so that it accents the piece, and you can see some of the syrup start to melt into the ice. And I suggest strawing this up a little bit so that you don't have to try and drink around the ice. And that's it. It doesn't have a mint garnish or anything crazy on it. This is a pretty simple cocktail. All the effort that you put in was really in the blend. So first, the crushed ice definitely makes it a little bit harder to drink because they're just getting stuck in the straw. There we go. This is like what I envision as the perfect bourbon sour. Like, besides the standard whiskey sour, which is great, I love passion fruit juice. And I love passion fruit, the flavor of passion fruit. This with the nice round oaky vanilla flavors alongside that passion fruit bite and that tartness. This is fantastic. And I've made this before on the show years ago, but I never realized how great it was. Or maybe I did and I didn't go back and rewatch. This is a great little drink. If you want to find this recipe, I just launched a new recipe database as well called recipe.awesomedrinks.com, where you can search up all your favorite recipes. I'm still adding to them, so the recipes are light right now, but I'm working on building them out. If you have any suggestions, write them down below. This will definitely be in that when you search for passion fruit. It's perfect. So I promised you a little bit of history about the Port Light. It really makes you think that you're sitting on the beaches of like Punta Cana or Cancun, where you get a lot more of that passion fruit flavor. You could also look at Hawaii as a place where you get those type of drinks. Although the bourbon definitely plays it in to be more of that like Kentucky flavor. Yet I want to be on an island at the same time. And ironically, that second notion of near Kentucky, you're getting closer to the origin of where this drink actually came from. This drink was actually designed in Ohio. Not quite Kentucky, but sure heck closer than Hawaii or Cancun. It was designed by Sandro Conti at the Kahiki Tiki Bar in 1961. Jeff Berry writes in Beach Bum Berry Remixed that this drink has a nice little history to it. Sad, but it's a nice history. The Kahiki Tiki Bar apparently had it was marginal food. However, the drinks were fantastic, as shown by the Port Light. The bar was well known at the time for its 3-story tall Easter Island fireplace. It was registered as a National Historic Place. But then, unfortunately, Walgreens came along, wanted to be able to put a Walgreens there, so they bulldozed the place down. I don't know how you do that for historical places, but it was done. So while we can't actually visit the original historic place, we can still revisit some of the cocktails that were designed there. Straight out of Columbus, Ohio, the Port Light. The next episode that we'll cover that has passion fruit in it is a recipe designed by my wife as part of a sponsorship that we did with Cardinal Spirits. It's an easy light rum cocktail. I thought it would fit great into this series. But for now, to start your journey into home cocktail mixology, home bartending, or to become a real bartender, head over to awesomedrinks.com. You can click right below. That'll bring you over to the bartender starter kit so that you can get yourself the kit you need to start your journey into cocktails. You can continue your journey by watching Course 1 and Course 2 in the sidebar right over there. That's it. We're teaching you how to drink.